Check, check. Y'all got
Hello. You guys are the experts there. All right. It's good to see everybody tonight. My name is Landon Shroder, for those of you who don't know me, and I am one of the publishers of RVA Magazine, along with Tony Harris in the back, and with our production manager, Sophia Feliciano, up front. We welcome everybody back to Salon de Résistance. Woo! That was not a clap cue. So this is the third convening of the Salon, and so far we've covered science, we've covered democracy and authoritarianism, and tonight we'll be covering how artificial intelligence is impacting music and culture. And as we meet each month, my hope is that we will continue to expand our horizons by learning from subject matter experts whose experience is critical to understanding the complexity that I think we're all feeling in American life right now. I'd also like to thank our sponsors that are here tonight as well, MSE Properties, Medora Laser, and Plan 9. So thank you guys. Knowing there are local businesses who care about these conversations and advancing this body of knowledge in Richmond continues to be very inspiring to me. So I'd like to thank all of you again. All right. So before we start tonight, I want to tell a short story to be able to set our frame. So in 1959, a young jazz musician did something extraordinary. He untethered the harmonic frameworks that defined jazz for almost 50 years, and that revolution in thinking freed him to express his emotions, his intellect, his sense of spirituality in a way that I believe changed music forever. That man was Ornette Coleman, and his album, The Shape of Jazz to Come, pioneered free jazz and defined the avant-garde for so much of the art and culture we probably take for granted today. And if we were to fast forward 40 years, a group of punk kids from Umeå, Sweden, who were also tired with the stagnation and the commercialization of the punk scene, also decided there needed to be a new noise, not only to push the artistic boundaries of the genre, but punk fundamentally needed to evolve to survive. That band was called Refused, and their album, The Shape of Punk to Come, also resurrected Ornette Coleman's idea, and in doing so, revolutionized the genre, again in ways that probably we take for granted today. But it was their act of creation, emphasis on their, which brought these two pieces of music to life. That was the real revolution, right? A revolution of creative intuition, a revolution of artistic mastery and genuine experience, human experience. Today, we do find ourselves at a similar crossroads of another musical revolution, but this time it's not being led by musicians. It's being led by another set of creators of algorithms, creators of artificial intelligence, and creators of machine learning. And for me, one road is coded, one road is authentic, but there's a deeper fundamental truth that I would like all of us to keep in mind as we have this conversation tonight about AI and music, because I think it cuts to the very core of what ultimately makes us human. The music which shapes our lives, which gives us purpose, that has narrated our best and worst moments, was gifted to us by artists who share in the same joy and pain we all do. So what happens when that's taken away from us, when the incentives to share in those experiences are replaced by programming code, which might be able to imitate our emotions, but can never truly empathize with our collective or individual experiences? And we do need to talk about that and the impact that it's going to have on us. And tonight, we're going to have that conversation as we try to answer the fundamental question of the Salon: can music survive artificial intelligence? So with that as our frame, I'd like to introduce our two guests for tonight. I'm assuming both of them probably need no introduction, but I'm going to give you an introduction. Anyways. No. So John Campbell. John is the bassist and founding member of Grammy-nominated band Lamb of God. John, good to see you. As many of you know, Lamb of God is one of metal's most powerfully enduring acts. John co-founded the group at VCU in 1994. John's also achieved significant global success, including 11 studio albums, multiple Grammy nominations, and critical praise for genre-defining albums like Ashes of the Wake, Sacrament, and As the Palaces Burn. He's been instrumental in shaping the band's sound and been a core architect of America's new wave of heavy metal. So, John, thank you for being us here tonight.
I can't wait to hear yours.
You know, I want to give all the accolades. Accolades where accolades are due. Tyler Williams. Tyler is the drummer and co-founder of The Head and the Heart. Tyler moved to Richmond in 2005, immediately falling in with various local bands like Premier and the Substitutes and Silent Film Star. But after moving to Seattle to start The Head and the Heart, the band quickly signed to Sub Pop Records and released their debut album, which went on to sell over 1 million copies and reach platinum status. So congratulations there, Tyler. Tyler moved back to Richmond in 2011 while continuing to tour and record with The Head and the Heart. He's been a champion of local Richmond music and helped manage the rise of stars like Lucy Dacus and Illiterate Light, and their last album, Aperture, was just released in May of this year. So, Tyler, thanks for coming on the Salon as well. All right, gentlemen, so let's talk shop. Right now, it does sort of feel like the conversation over artificial intelligence is all-encompassing. I think it's coming at us we can all agree that it's coming at us from multiple directions. To bring it back to music, last week, just to go over some current events, last week there was an AI country song called Walk My Walk, which was top of the Billboard Country Digital Downloads chart. That racked up 5.2 million listens on Spotify. I looked at the numbers before coming here tonight. Jana Monet is an AI-powered R&B. I guess we can't really call them bands, so I'm just going to call him an avatar. I can't even call him her. It's not.
Avatar's good.
It's not a real human. So, Jana Monet, a woman-positioned avatar, is racking up R&B charts. She's got over 15 million listens. And over the summer, there was a band called The Velvet Sundown, which caused quite the stir. Rolling Stone broke this story and revealed it was also an AI project. And they've got 6 million plus listens right now on Spotify. So that's sort of where we're at as artificial intelligence connects with music. But I also don't want to assume what that means for you guys as well. So I'm just going to ask as level set, is there a role for artificial intelligence like this in the music that we're sort of consuming nowadays? And that's a question for both of you.
There definitely is. I mean, you see there's millions of downloads, millions of listens. There's a demand for it. The art evokes something in people, regardless of where it came from, whether it's artificial intelligence. It's a real emotion. So I think, there's certainly room for that in what's going on that you can't deny.
What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the genres that, country music or something like that, I think that's where it's starting. R&B, it's starting in R&B. And I find that it's maybe, there's definitely a use for it, like John said. I find that use might be on like the back end and not necessarily maybe more artistically, at the forefront, if that makes sense. I would see it, used we were talking about production stems, something like that, where, it can be a pain in the ass to get production stems done when you need them.
A production stem is if you listen to a song, you hear all the music, everything blended together.
Yeah.
You can now use AI with your or with just on your computer at home to have it split the guitar, the bass, the drums. It's not perfect, but it's using AI. I've used that at home, and found mistakes in edits that I use it as a tool, and I'm so glad that I had the chance to.
Yeah. I think it's a tool. I think it's a tool for maybe music to progress or for styles to progress. But for me, I think that there's something about human emotion that I will always stand for. I think is on a humanist level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think that AI can still evoke that from people, and I think that the real revolution is that's going to come from people. Like if AI is spitting out this formulaic garbage,
Yeah.
that's going to inspire kids who are picking up a guitar in their
Totally.
home or whatever instrument at home.
And I think that's the point that I really find in when I start thinking about it is like, there's going to be a counterpoint to
Yes.
AI. You know, there's never a revolution without a counter revolution or an action without a reaction. So I think that, you know, whatever we find ourselves walking into or whatever washes over us technologically speaking, I think there's going to be kids who go, fuck that, you know?
Right.
Or embrace it. And, you know, like there's going to be it's going to be a division, you know, for sure.
But isn't there something inherently disingenuous about positioning an avatar or a band in a way that gives the perception that it is real? Because you did talk about human emotion as well, and there is no real human emotion behind a prop sequence from my point of view, and I'm definitely curious in your point of view, John. But you know, the motivations of that creator to be able to bring that avatar or a piece of AI generated music to life isn't necessarily in line with what we might consider art to be, art for the sake of art. If there's a profit motive behind it, you know, if there's a business motive, you know, does that change the dynamic and usage of how that technology
I think it makes it maybe more crass, but it's art and business coming together already, and the record companies are going to want to sell as much as they want. They don't give a crap about the creators. They're trying to.
That's true.
They're trying to make money.
Right.
They honestly don't care where it comes from. If they can do it cheaper this way, they're going to do it cheaper.
What do you
Yeah,
think, Todd?
I mean, I agree. Like, I think the idea of reducing overhead, you know, what AI can do in that world
Right.
for every company, you know, I know
For everybody sitting in this room.
for
probably.
everybody sitting in this room has probably thought about, you know, if they own a business, they've thought about how they can use AI to
Right.
improve the cost overheads of that business. And I think it's just, when you start talking about art, right, it's like, what is art? How do we define that? You know, can it be made by a computer? Can it be completely absent of intent or human emotion or anything like that? And so I think, you know, I think it's going to be a philosophical challenge for people to embrace it, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to get embraced. And I think country music is a great place for it to start.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
Not that there's not.
Yeah, like to me,
We're all dancing around that, right? We're all dancing around this.
when I
It's so formulaic. Pop country is so formulaic.
When
Nothing wrong with liking
I was
that.
like,
There's a comfort. It's like comfort
Yeah,
food. But
it's
yeah,
comfort food.
It's easy for AI to
you got to drop in 5 phrases into that song,
Yeah.
and everybody's
Yeah,
like,
like,
"That's the best
yeah.
country
Dogs.
song ever made."
Look, there's great
Yeah.
country music out there. I
Yeah.
don't know if.
I don't know any.
I,
I'm kidding. I have Willie Nelson tattoos on.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of it's insidious to think that those albums or songs would get plays without the press that it also got. You
That's
know, when you look at
interesting.
the Velvet Rubdown.
It should be the
Velvet
Velvet Rubdown,
Rubdown,
but it was the Velvet Sundown. It does, when you listen to it, it does feel like a rubdown. But
You know
it
what?
is-
I never heard of it until Rolling Stone made the article, and then I went and I go, I have to go listen to that.
Do you think you've heard something that you didn't know was AI and just accepted it as
I guarantee you.
absolutely?
There's
So it doesn't
definitely
really
music
matter.
that's
does it?
already being produced out there that is AI. It's being sold as not AI. And you know, BMI and ASCAP, they're all having these conversations about what can we register? Can we
What can we
register
make money?
AI?
Right.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
They're saying, can we register AI songs? Is that considered? Because all these songs are being trained on copywritten
Sure.
work.
So is that
you know,
already?
Yeah.
That's an interesting
which,
angle to that.
So
Holy
how do
crap, I
you
didn't think of that.
legally
Yeah.
parse that? Really?
we're going to come to that in a second. But
Great.
I think what I'm
figure that out.
yeah, because you guys are lawyers,
Yes, we are.
rock and roll lawyers. So I guess what I'm hearing from your perspective on a certain level is that technology's always played a role in shaping music, right? So we've gone from analog to digital, we've gone from MP3 to streaming. So as technology evolves, music also
Yeah, acoustic to
evolves.
electric. Yeah.
Right.
Everything.
So essentially, are you just viewing this as the next logical evolution in how music is made?
Absolutely. Like
That's surprising. I wouldn't have expected
came,
that.
Well, we came
Yeah.
when we started as a band. We became popular through MP3.com, so we would not have really gotten any attention. But also, it changed how things like. You can't make money in music anymore like they used to.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we came in not expecting that. So the groundwork had been changed, and so we didn't expect it to be that already. and you've got to just kind of roll with the punches.
Well, just interesting, John. So since you guys started in 1994, you've spent over 30 years sort of making music and recording, not to date you. But I mapped your career against sort of key moments in technology just to see if anything interesting stood out. So in New American Gospel came out in 2000, so that's right as MP3s opened the doors for digital downloads. As The Palaces Burn dropped in 2003, that's the same year iTunes launched. And by the time Wrath was released in 2009, Spotify was going live, right? First in Europe and then here in the US. So essentially, Lamb of God survived every major disruption in the industry, right? You survived piracy, you've survived digital sales, you've survived streaming. But how does a band starting out in 2025 survive a disruption like AI, especially when those acts are already doing the numbers that we just talked about, right? And if they can get music to market faster, what is a band to do?
I think you're asking the wrong people because we've learned on the old model.
Yeah,
No, of
I
course.
think that is true.
We would book our own tours in the van from a yearly book your own fucking life from Maximum Rock and Roll with people just sending their contact info.
Yeah.
It's come a long way since then. We got lucky the time that we were born, but there's kids that are going to figure it out. There's artists are going to art.
Tyler being sort of a generation forward.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've always
To date you now.
I didn't start in the 90s when people were like printing records and money at the same time. I'm not saying that everyone was making millions of dollars in the music industry, but I've always felt like there's never been a time where the artist truly controlled where the direction of the industry was going or was truly the benefactor of technology. We've always been sort of at the whims of technology, and we have to kind of ride those waves. I've never, in the meetings and the calls that I have with my management company, we don't talk about AI because it's just another thing that's going to happen that you are going to have to adapt to, and no one's going to see what that entails until you get there, right? So you make plans to do what you do and to keep going the way that you know best. And thank God touring and live music are such a important thing for people because
and t-shirts.
T-shirts.
People love wearing t-shirts.
Yeah.
and that helps graphic designers. That helps another level of artists as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
So, I think like the fact that I grew up in a time making music when the live show was basically the income. You're selling records, but you're sort of not seeing the accounting is cloudy. And you're seeing stuff through your registration, your PRO, like BMI or ASCAP or CSCAP or whatever you're on. And if I would feel worse if there was a humanoid robot AI band who were selling out Madison Square Garden. That would freak me out.
Do you think that's coming?
Yes.
Hell no. I
do,
personally don't think
absolutely.
it's coming. I think it works for certain genres. Like K-pop could totally do it.
And
Right.
K-pop sells out Madison Square
They do.
Garden and all the
could totally
surrounding
work.
arenas so
Yeah.
people can watch them on
I
screen.
know,
So
and it would
is
totally
coming.
work.
Don't
Because
kid
you could
yourself.
put holograms up there now. You can
What's
match
that?
the
There's a guy that's
holograms with the
trapped
AI.
by
you can-
robots or something where he builds the robots and writes all the music, but they all perform.
Yeah.
So yeah,
See, that's cool. I would
It's
go
like-
see it. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
bad.
it's a performance.
I'm just saying
regardless of
that would
whether
scare
it's
me
about it.
more than like an AI Spotify streaming act.
Well, because that's like an actual horror movie. Like that's
Right.
that
And,
might
like,
kill you.
In
as well,
2019, before the pandemic hit, all the large booking agency execs were talking about hologram tours.
Yeah.
How that was going to take over the world. Where's Roy Orbison? Where is that now? I don't see it out there.
Let me, Tyler, let me bring it back to something you just said, because I am curious about it. Like, you brought up your management company, and you've said that AI hasn't factored into any sort of aspect of your conversations. And I understand music, sort of sits outside of other work that's being impacted by it. Mm-hmm. But when, the CEO of Anthropic comes out and says, 10 million people are going to lose their jobs in the next 5 years. And I'm about to sort of discuss some industry statistics about AI in the music industry with you.
Great.
But is there no sort of like forward view to the sort of disruption of the livelihoods to working musicians if everybody else is already sort of experiencing a baseline disruption? Like in America, 1 million jobs have been lost this year.
Yeah.
Some of those jobs have been lost to AI. So maybe art, music is one of the last things that gets touched because of the creative element to it.
And the performance.
And the performance aspect of it.
Yeah.
But clearly at some point, I would assume managers are thinking about that disruption.
I'm sure on a higher level than I am involved in. You know, I think that the real threat comes from people losing their jobs outside of the music industry, I think. When people can't afford to take care of their family, they're also not going to go see a show. They're not going to go, it's like art, it's almost like these billionaires want art to become a patronage thing again, so they can control it and censor it to what they want it to be. And that bothers me. I think that's the true, I don't have an issue with art, AI creating art or being used in art. I have a problem with billionaires usurping the will of the people, basically.
We're going to talk about that too. But yeah. Do you feel like, so you brought up the back end in terms of AI processes, in terms of industry, music industry people that might lose their jobs, do you think the sort of audio engineers, you know, the people that are sort of working on the back end?
I don't know, like in my experience, like the audio engineers, at least like our touring front of house guy, like
maybe that was the wrong.
Okay.
Sort of like the
I
production
would think it would be
engineers
like in the office types,
Yeah.
and it would be like the lower level office types. Management exists is because we're musicians and we don't know how to do business. I mean, you have to learn it, but So they have their skill set, and they can use it as a tool to, you know, try and make whatever predictions they're going to make for a tour or whatever. But I don't see how. Like, would you trust an AI management?
No.
Hell no.
But would you trust an AI
trust
semi-driver on the road driving next to you? It's sort of like, you know.
That's a great question.
These are tough things to think about.
I don't think I don't think I really trust management or the driver.
Well,
Healthy skepticism is always good at management. Anyway,
oh my God.
Well, going down the rabbit hole on this sort of thread, I do want to throw some numbers at you guys. So in the next few years, the global market for AI-generated music is projected to reach 40 billion, right? 40 billion, and that's the projections by 2028. So AI tools designed to specifically assist in music creation will add another $8.4 billion to the AI-generated music industry. And based on those numbers, industry analysts are claiming that will translate into roughly an $11 billion loss for musicians worldwide, right? So the numbers are the numbers, right? Industry's always going to find a way to grow revenue at the expense of like actual human beings. But once again, as working musicians, are you preparing for that shift in the operating model? Like, are you guys worried about that sort of bottom line in any real way?
Personally, I'm not at all. It may be specific to my situation, but like this was never the intent anyway. This was always kind of started us for fun, and it's gotten this far. I don't think I'm not worried about AI doing anything to affect my bottom line. And even if it does, it's been a great ride.
It's been a great ride.
I would say so.
Yeah.
So
Just
essentially,
based on what Landon, how he introduced
you'll
you.
essentially get into that automated semi truck and just cruise into the.
I mean, honestly, I
cruise into
wouldn't
the
mind.
sunset.
Right off the pier.
I wouldn't mind having someone drive for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think.
What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's similar, It's like you don't really get into this to make money. So these conversations are more sort of like geared around AI and money, but like there's also the art side of things, which is sort of maybe the idealistic, purist view of it,
And then we're also, kind of separated from the money in that like you go to a show, you get paid, but you don't get paid.
There's
that
no
night.
transaction.
Right. It's like
this
is from that. Like it's not that direct of a
And
transaction.
thank God, because that might be really gross.
Oh yeah, wouldn't it?
That would be so good.
Yeah. God, think all the money you'd wasted.
Oh man. But I mean, I think it sort of also begs people to get more creative, right?
Absolutely.
If a computer is making better music than you,
Yeah,
you might have to step it up. I don't know.
It's kind of like
Right.
when the internet became a thing, like nobody really knew what it was going to become, and some people thought it was a fad that was going to go away and not really do anything. And now, like Jeff Bezos is one of the richest men because of the internet.
Right.
So, we'll see how it goes. We figured it out somehow.
Yeah.
Are you worried about the sort of plagiarization sort of aspect? Because like given the popularity of both of your bands, right? Like it's only a matter of time before you hear a bass line that you've created, being simulated or plagiarized or otherwise sort of brought
Wait, a commercial
forward.
music house hasn't done that to you guys yet? You haven't
well-
heard it in a commercial yet?
Well, okay. So I didn't grow up in the heavy metal world, so I'm not steep in this stuff. But there's this band Testament that has a song "Into the Pit" from the '80s, and we have a song "Laid to Rest" that apparently is like almost identical.
Yeah.
And that was just because of the neurons firing and the guitar player who wrote the riff.
Right.
So am I worried about AI plagiarizing? I mean, it just kind of happens anyway. Art
Right.
is just, we're all kind of feeding off each other, and now there's this, I guess, robot mind in there.
Yeah, but in that scenario, like if there is a sort of clash of that, like musician to musician, like you can go talk to Testament, and sort of.
We've had those conversations
Right.
about, hey, did you notice?
So, but there is no conversation with the machine, right?
Fair enough.
Well, this is where
there's-
the FTC should step in if they
Right.
were owned wholly, but they are, and
Yeah.
there should be protection for copywritten work. There should be protection for artists against stealing or training your language model on copywritten work. Like if you really can, make a claim that AI makes good music, then go write it without using our music or other
right.
artists' music. I think that's important to think about. They're literally being trained on copywritten material.
On your music.
But we've been trained on that too, right?
So, but
We're relying on those experiences that we've had. Why can't?
all right, I like it.
I'm just asking questions. I don't know.
No, that's a good viewpoint.
I mean, and we are commodifying
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
Well, okay, I'm going to open it up to the room for a few questions before we move on to the next segment. But you did bring up FTC, and there is, and once again, it doesn't feel like there is any real accountability right now. So we're posing all of these sort of hypothetical scenarios without there being a sort of back end of accountability to really do anything about it. And essentially, given the role the tech CEOs are now playing in American life, I mean, if you guys watched the news and watched the Saudi White House dinner the other night, like they were all sitting there, So for me, the idea that there is going to be any accountability is sort of negligible right now. But I do know there have been multiple artist lawsuits that have been filed against OpenAI, Anthropic, Suno, which I think is the major AI music platform. So there's a lawsuit against them, while at the same time they just took in $250 million worth of investment.
Right.
So it doesn't seem to be slowing down. And maybe that offers some level of compensation to the artist, but it doesn't feel like those lawsuits address the underlying issue, which is how the AI models operate, right? How they ingest data, how they learn, how they create. So it does feel like the cat's out of the proverbial bag. Have there been any other, and because you, John, you've been speaking sort of like fondly about how technology sort of integrates with music, have there been any other parallels in modern music that you can sort of point to that might be parallel to this moment in technology? To me, it seems like the biggest disruption.
It is a huge disruptor because
Right.
it can create. But there was all the different formats from 8 tracks, vinyl that people were freaked out about being able to make tapes at home.
Copies of tapes.
Yeah. Sampling, I guess that would have been something.
Yeah, and then people sampling and using loops. It's people. I don't know. People always seem really concerned about it, and it seems to keep going on. But at this point, with being able to cut the creators out, will be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't feel that we have any say in any of that. It's very market driven anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I see a lot of. I hate to admit that I watch a lot of short attention span algorithmic stuff on my phone at times.
Yeah.
Reels.
Nobody else here.
Well,
nobody else here does.
Nobody
Nobody else here does.
But there are AI songs that there's one maybe somebody here can connect with me. There's one that's in Portuguese and it's supposed to be like just foul, and they show people who speak Portuguese. You know what I'm talking about. That song is catchy as fuck. Like
Sophia's Portuguese.
I'm learning a little bit of Portuguese. But it's completely AI.
There was a soul song that was like a cover of Stone Temple Pilots' Interstate Love Song. We were talking about that.
Yeah. A guy named Nick Harrison actually. He's got an album out, and he's a personality on the internet who takes like old '90s grunge
Yeah.
and turns it into soul songs, and it's amazing.
And
I
they
think
were
he
remarkable.
They're really
beautiful.
good. They're really good.
They're really good, and you can't downplay
I think he does
that.
the vocals though. I want to think he does the vocals. I want him to.
That
do
would
the
be
vocals.
nice if he did.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, they're beautiful. They're beautiful
They're
songs. and
fantastic.
They can put out, AI can create stuff that, is based off other people's work, and it can sound really great,
Without any of I'm just stuck on the ethical and sort of moral dimensions
Yeah.
of that as well. But I also think it's fascinating from your guys' perspective because once again, like I view you guys as the subject matter experts. So like, I think your perspective on this carries the most weight in this conversation. But I just find it interesting that how, maybe not accepting is not the right word, but just how sort of, maybe
Accepting, I think, is the right word.
accepting that you guys are about the sort of disruption to it in the music.
Are we here as artists? Are we here to change the world, or just kind of express what's going on in the world, or?
Yeah.
It's the world. We live in it and control what we can, but you have to accept that there's a whole lot of shit you can't.
Just adapting
Yeah,
and
that's one
going
of
with it.
Well, I think there's also like a level of nihilism in the world right now. That is
Okay.
also,
I like that. Yeah.
like how do you fight against something that feels like it's inevitable? And how do you fight, or do you figure out a way to adapt, or do you take it in? Obviously my team hasn't had conversations about how we adapt to AI. I don't think we're there yet. And I think that's why we haven't had those conversations, because it doesn't feel like it's on the doorstep of what we do.
Right.
It might be.
I have
Yeah,
seen
that's great.
bands, smaller bands, catching shit online because they designed an album cover using AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a band, Mannequin Pussy. They did a whole music video AI, and it totally I think it
shut
didn't go
them
over
out.
well.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're still out there, and they're still very popular.
Soundgarden had that video they played forever where they're using that stupid effect that made like shit
Black
bulge.
hole sun?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
who cares what they? Yeah,
I mean, there's always going to be.
I watched. There's
Embellishments, right?
there's hilarious AI videos of just.
Yeah.
There's a series where there's a chiropractor in an office and he just does like an elbow drop and smashes the table and like.
Yeah.
It's just silly.
I
dumb
saw that
shit.
last night, yeah.
No, well, there's a series. There's a ton of them.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next segment, I want to take a few questions from you guys. If anybody has any perspective on what we've heard so far.
I have a question about lyrics specifically. So Charlie, you mentioned on the back end of sort of processing and finalizing a song, there's AI. On the front end, any of us who've used AI to perfect an email or a love letter, it's better. It's better what we say. So at the moment, do either of your bands use AI just to take in lyrics and try and revise them and perfect them?
I'm not a lyric writer, but I don't believe we have at all.
I'm not either, and I can say without even having the conversation that there's two guys that write the lyrics that they would absolutely fucking not a chance.
Yeah,
What
I
he
think
said.
We all follow Randy's Instagram. Yeah.
And I threw the fuck in there just to get him to listen.
Yeah. Cool. Does anybody else have a second question? Yeah. Oh,
I have a question.
Mike Thibodeau in the back.
We have a little statement, really, and I'm curious on what you all think. I've been a fan of. Oh, thank you. I've been a fan of the Head and the Heart since you guys started, and one of my favorite things about following an artist is how they evolve. So, if there are AI artists that are coming into the picture, are they even capable of evolving? And that's a whole nother side of it, I guess. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, currently, AI is prompted by a human, right? So that human would have to prompt evolution.
I mean, you can just say evolve this,
Evolve this.
make it more interesting chord structures,
Make it more
dynamic
make this more
changes.
Bowie or something. You know?
I mean,
Like,
I don't know if you've ever messed with chat. You can
you
literally
can do a
that
lot
kind
of stuff, but it's not doing it on its own, right? So, I think that when AI can actually generate its own, isn't that like the next level of AI or something where like AI is
Generative
AI? Is
Yeah.
that what it's called? Okay, so that seems like maybe a place where that could be more natural, but also scarier. Does that make sense? Where there isn't a human like prompting the evolution. I don't have an opinion on it because I don't. It's like
Yeah. That's a machine prompting machine. All right, let's do one more question, and then we'll go to the next segment.
So I have this like very huge opinion about art and this like, I think kind of follows the Japanese wabi-sabi thing, right? The beauty and imperfection piece of it. And it feels like AI is training something. If we look at it, it's like the sum total of the algorithm. Like it works and it hits you on an emotional level because we found all of the niche things that this thing kind of fits, right? Where do you think imperfection fits into creation? And then kind of piggyback on the evolution piece of that. Like, do you think that is the piece that kind of separates what this thing can create and what human beings can create? The fact that we are kind of irrational.
And imperfect, yeah. We should have you up here, man. That's fantastic. I think that may be part of the evolution that AI would not hit on, is that the imperfections, that you hear that weird little things like, wow, that clash sounds really fucking cool.
Until you can prompt it in, right?
Right.
Yeah, but you have to make the mistake, and it has to have the origination.
Totally.
So you would have to make the sum total of all mistakes
Yes,
in
you
human
have to go make
evolution
this
to
mistake.
be able to do that. Yeah.
I think that's going to be a dividing line. Like people are going to want less perfect music, and I already hear it happening. Like it's already been happening forever, right? Like
I mean,
leave
punk
the
rock
mistakes
came out of
in.
all these guitar virtuosos playing this bloated rock and roll.
Yeah,
it's just going to be great for underground music.
I think you hear a band like Geese or the lead singer Cameron Winter, that solo project, reminds me of Nina Simone. Things are left in. There's so much human emotion, and I feel like that's going to carry on, right? That can never stop. Like humans will never stop creating regardless of what a machine does. Unless we're all terminated, which could happen. But then we have more problems to worry about than music.
Elon Musk is building an army.
We have less to worry about.
Musk is building an army of robots, so I mean,
We know that.
that's that's happening. Okay, cool. So for our next segment, I want to run a little experiment. So Sophia's put together a playlist, essentially an AI or not playlist, and you guys are the subject matter experts.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to play around 45 seconds from 4 songs, and I want everybody in the room to vote first, AI or not, right? And then we'll come to you guys for your sort of subject matter expertise. Because what I really want to understand, even anecdotally, is if we can still tell the difference between machine and music, and as we get into our final block of questions, what that might mean for all of us as sort of real flesh and blood human beings. So, Sophia, just the rules again. You guys are going to vote first, then we're going to go to you guys for expert opinion. 45 seconds of 4 songs. Give us the first song, Sophia. Everything's
It's
AI.
either
These are not
okay.
engineered songs.
Every scar on my skin tell a story of war. Every time I was left, I came back wanting more. Try to break me down, but I stood too tall. Now I walk through the flame, I don't feel no fall. I'm the diamond you can't uncut. I'm the queen that won't give up. All my pain turned to gold, you see.
Yeah, okay. How many people thought that was AI? So, what was that about 15? About maybe half the room? All right. What about you guys? AI or not?
It was hard to tell because you can make all of that happen at home. I could make a track that sounded just like that at home.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have that skill, but someone could. But then it sounded like Beyonce's voice, and I don't think anybody recognized the track, and I think somebody would recognize Beyonce's track. So from that alone, I'm going to say I think it was AI.
AI?
Yeah, everything was to the grid. Everything was perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
There was no, everything was so just on. And I think you're right. Like you can create that on an MPC in a bedroom or in Ableton. So it's a little tougher to tell with music that has artificial
Synths.
drums.
Yeah. And polished vocals.
Yeah, but I'm going to say AI because, yeah, it sounded very AI to me. And if it's not, sorry.
Throw us out.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry to that artist.
Whew, man, everyone's just got to pack up and go fuck home, I guess. All right, Sophia, let's do number 2.
Now we're going to wait till the end to find out.
Yeah, we're going to wait till the end.
Woke
woke up again, same old day. The world keeps turning, but I'm in place. Tired of the noise, the endless grind. I'm searching for peace, but it's hard to find.
So good.
Every step I take, I fall behind. Chasing dreams that
so
were
many
never
bands that
mine.
sound like this right now.
I'm running in circles, can't break free. Feels like there's a prison holding me. Inside of it all, can't take no more. Staring at the ceiling, always wanting more.
AI or not? AI. That was less. All right, so that was only about five.
I'm gonna say,
five or so.
I'm gonna say definitely AI. That was 100% AI.
AI.
I think. I mean, it could just be that the vocals
Tyler?
were so auto-tuned and polished, but yeah, it just sounded so generic.
It sounds like a lot of stuff I've heard, but not anything particular.
Right.
So,
Really?
I'm gonna say AI.
You know.
And some people
But
just
is it-
call
but
it
it-
punk rock, probably.
Right, yeah.
That's the real travesty in
Yeah,
all of this.
But couldn't that just be bands playing to the market, as you said?
Totally. But I didn't like it, so it's AI.
It sounded soulless.
Yeah,
right?
that's.
There was no soul in it. They got any fucking soul in it.
And I actually like a lot of that music. So
Yeah, no, I get that. It's like as a writer, anytime you use an M dash now,
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
RVA Mag, that's an AI written article because you used a dash.
And I'm live streaming,
Yeah.
and I just got to notice that we reached our limit of copywritten material for the day.
So we're not AI. Holy
I don't
shit.
know. We will soon find out. All right, Sophia, let's do number 3. So smoky.
I want this to not be AI.
Any jazz fans out there? AI or not? Oh, there you go. I like that. That's a good level of thinking. Puma, yeah, you know. So, all right, about 5 of you guys as well. All right.
You first.
AI.
I had a problem with the.
All right. I like this
Yeah, please.
level of
Unless we have to talk.
intuition and discussion.
I had a problem with the way the horns and the guitar interacted, and it felt like AI. Like the mix was not a mix that like a real engineer would put on a jazz song.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
didn't sound good.
Wow.
Yeah, and you wouldn't mix a samba bass line with a horn band. Not that I want to give it away.
That's pretty great. I didn't catch any of that. I wanted it to be real because I liked it, and I was like, I think I've heard this song before, but that makes me think it's probably AI because it's
So we gave it away. This was going to be. You were actually going to go not AI.
But well, I'm saying that it's AI because it's hitting those spots.
Okay.
Too well, and it just sounds like something I've heard before.
All right. Let's do the last one, Sophia.
There's a light on a broken screen. Marching ghosts where the green once leaned. Boys with guns but no way home. Drifting deep through the static tone. Fire in the mirror, sky turns black. Voices.
AI or not? Well, let me see a show of hands. Like, not that many. So, majority of you think that was okay.
Well, I think this is
Only
interesting,
about
right?
3.
It's like
Okay.
genre-based.
It
which
is.
That sort of bothers me a little bit.
It is genre-based, which is a follow-on
Well, it could also be
question
the
I have for you.
demographics of who showed up.
Correct, yeah. But I think that was AI.
Okay. John?
I think that was AI completely, and I think I know who they trained it on. It
Oh,
sounded
yeah.
like the Dire Straits coming in.
Yeah.
A little too derivative.
Yeah.
It
But
did.
that happens also.
That did have a bit of Dire Straits in it.
Yeah, and I think that's like the experiment points to something of like maybe bias of listeners of genre or
Could be.
people who don't listen to certain genres versus
Or what they
Others?
expect from music.
What they
like
expect
a jazz dude's going to want to nerd out on all the jazzy stuff.
Yeah.
right, or is rock and roll more pure than like an R&B song,
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
right?
That's a, wow.
Do you think
With a show of hands, there were way less people who thought the
Right.
rock song was
was
artificial.
Artificial, right. So if we
That
look at
bothers me.
They were all AI though, right?
Right, I hope they're all AI.
if we look at a quick tally, so it's like 15 or so, everybody said R&B, that was the number one, and then sort of what was it, pop punk, about 6 or 7, jazz 6 or 7, and then the last one was only about 3. So you guys voted AI
On every one of them.
on every one of those songs. So before we get to that, I do want to get back to this idea about like demographics.
They've got the artist back here that's all real.
Yeah, they're all waiting to beat us up.
Yeah, Because I think that brings up a really good point, right? Because, I mean, if everything's programmed against everything else, then the idea to sort of like homogenize and flatten music
Right.
becomes really easy, right? Especially as it's a process to get to market.
I think
right?
if a music is already like created through sampling or through production in a DAW, like Ableton or something like that, it's almost easier to convince people that the AI is not necessarily AI. Or
Well, I
cut,
think people
you
have
know?
been trained to the
Right.
ability with digital recording. You can
Yeah.
make everything fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And for a while, people were chasing that perfection, and then it got to sound real stale and sterile. So people pulled back a little bit from that. But
Yeah.
I don't think that the average listener is going to be able to
Tell the difference.
That's the thing. I think that's why like Monet and the country hit. Country music is also very similar. It's also very much like everything's. A lot of those drums are not real drums in pop country. And I think it's almost easier to start there, right? Where you've already got an audience.
You've already got so much artificial stuff going on in the sound
right,
already.
yeah, and maybe there's not as like much of a distinction. But that rock song that you played last, I really hope it's AI because that shit sucked.
That was actually my band
The Landon
that I slipped in there. Like as a 45-year-old man, I wanted to really impress you guys. I thought this was my opportunity, so I'm
crushed his dream.
gonna go outside and
Sorry, Landon.
throw myself in front of a GRT bus. Okay, so that was amazing from you guys. So like the plot twist was they were all AI. Right, like, so I want to give you guys that. That was amazing. No, and it was amazing because subject matter expertise does still matter, right?
I think you could have slipped something past us, though.
You could have.
Maybe, but we put together this playlist. We listened to dozens of songs. We didn't just grab the first 4 things.
Right.
We curated a bunch of different genres to try to trip everybody up. But I think like that's amazing that you guys still have the subject matter expertise to be able to discern that. And part of the reason why I sort of ran that experiment that way, and it is a bit naughty, right? But I don't mean to trick you guys, but AI is not being labeled. It's not being separated into its own category, right? Spotify, Apple, Amazon, none of them disclose what's authentic versus what's machine. Spotify specifically came out and said we will not, ban or label sort of AI
Question
content.
for you is Tidal, because they do credits. Does
Right.
Tidal show when something is AI produced, or
No, I don't believe so.
so? What does the credit say?
So I don't
Dell 1200.
No, well, I think
NVIDIA?
if you're an AI avatar, once again, I don't want to call it a band
I mean,
or an artist. but
somebody's
like,
commodifying it.
Yeah,
it's not
but-
getting out there. Nobody's putting their time into it.
But-
Prompt engineer.
Right.
No,
But
but
they're going to find out there's no fucking money in it.
But so the country music song "Walk My Walk" it's credited as Broken Rust.
So somebody's got a
So that's the
BMI
name of the
ASCAP.
project.
But on Tidal, you can actually they put the credits of the engineers and who worked on the song.
Yeah, but who goes through?
So I'm curious.
Yeah.
Maybe what does "Walk My Walk" say on Tidal? Do you have Tidal?
We'll look that up. But before we get
Yeah.
there, So for me, it's almost just like any piece of disinformation. It creates a reality that's shaped entirely by the motivations of the creator,
Totally.
right? Which is to say that I think the origins of creation are essential to how, the cultural values of what we choose to elevate. And that's a bit philosophical, but Sophia came up with this next question too, and I think it's an important one as we follow up the experiment, because we talk a lot about media literacy as a way to combat misinformation, fake news. Do we need musical literacy, something that can help audiences think critically, like you just brought up? So what you just brought up in How to Read the Credits is essentially a way for you to be musically literate about the sort of content you're engaging with. But if we are to protect the idea of art, of music, of culture, do we need to sort of start having that education as well?
Well,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. It's one of the reasons I switched to Tidal recently, is because I want the people who worked on the record to get their credit and get their due. And I think that should be adapted by every streaming service across the board. There's no reason the engineer who worked on the record or the assistant engineer shouldn't be credited. And if you picked up a CD or a vinyl, they were always listed in the liner notes. We've done away with liner notes apparently. So
Right.
I think that having the credits is a good thing. I also think a really critical press is a good thing, Like for a long time, it just felt like reviews didn't matter, I think, because you could go listen to music on Spotify and make your own decision about whether you liked it or not. But if we're gonna start having conversations around what art means again, which it feels like we just forgot about while TikTok took over and ran rampant, I think having a really critical press and reviewers who are not there to just appease a label or appease a publicist, but who's actually there to give an honest opinion of art. I think that's so important. I think we've lost critics of art in general over the last decade as social media has taken over and opinions become more democratized. We need gatekeepers, honestly, I think, to taste. Not necessarily to platforms or to anything like that, but we need people to tell us why something is art, I believe. I think that's important.
I think that's correct as well. I think that's a real interesting point of view.
Not to put an authority on something that's necessarily subjective, but
there has been a broader conversation these days about what sort of expertise means, right? Like we don't trust doctors anymore, we don't trust politicians anymore, we don't trust scientists anymore. Like, why should music, and I think that goes back to the idea of musical literacy, like why should that exist outside of the rack of expertise, that somebody might, be able to gatekeep?
Well, certainly music can, I guess, be a weapon of some sort. I think it's different in that it's an art that it affects you emotionally. It's not like a doctor that's you want trust in someone who's gone to school to be a science, but you don't need to study to be a musician. You just need to have some gift and talent and some way to make noise in front of you.
What do you guys think? I want to take two questions before we go to sort of our final questions, just about the sort of AI or not segment. What do you got? Yes.
So I do have a question about governance. So governance in AI is where politics enters into the picture. Do you think politics has a place in music with governance and AI?
No, I don't at all. I think it's. To say the word free market, it sounds weird coming out of my mouth, but I think it should be it's an art. It should just be what it's going to be, and humans and cultures respond to it, and it's either lifted up, gets shoved to the side, whatever. It just is what it is. And I don't think politics should be in any way, shape, or form involved. I don't even think they should stamp it and let you know that it was made by AI. If you like it, who cares?
Yeah, I think obviously there are different perspectives, but I think looking at how songwriters are generally treated by the government or by Spotify or any large company,
any technology.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a better royalty rate for the people who are creating the music for you? Or wouldn't it be nice to have their music protected so that they're not being exploited but I don't think that that's ever going to happen.
Never.
Because it's never happened. In this whole, in the music industry, it's never happened. You know, people generally are not, songwriters are generally not protected. They're generally not compensated fairly. Musicians aren't. So to think that in the time of Trump and the era that we live in, where it seems like we're headed straight towards an oligarchy here, I have no fantasy about that becoming a reality. But wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, and fucking healthcare, wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't it be
Let's
nice?
get that, like,
Let's-
yeah.
Steve, so I have like a two-part question in a way. Just a little background, like I work for a chemical company. I by all means don't have a chemical degree, but I do marketing for the company. So do you feel like in the music world, using AI, will you lose that human collaboration? And then do you also feel like maybe artists are starting to embrace it just because of like the money perspective? And so branching out of like the music industry, I just heard like on the radio or something, Matthew McConaughey is actually embracing AI to like record and preserve his voice and his all right. So what do you guys think? Short question. Thank you.
I have no problem with Matthew McConaughey preserving the all right.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
I was actually in for Halloween one.
We need more of that. Okay?
Yeah.
That's an arrogant move, though. Like,
Yeah.
what I've never met the guy, but I imagine there's a little narcissism twisting around.
Don't we all? We all.
Well, you know, some to more degrees than others.
And we're going to drain like 20 lakes to be able to power the data center,
Yeah, right.
to be able to like do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another point. Like, there's
Yeah.
an environmental impact here that could go on a whole other discussion for sure.
What was the first part of the question?
Collaboration.
I think that's true. Like, I actually, one of the reasons why I started playing music is to have friends and to like play with other people and enjoy what it means to be in a space where you're kind of like fighting, but you're creating something beautiful out of that little argument. Like the push and the pull and the tension, it's so human, it's so dramatic in a way. But like, you know, I think we're losing a lot of that stuff where, you know, small venues are shutting down and, you know, kids are staying inside because they're, you know, watching TikTok or they're too shy to go out or they feel like they're not like secure enough in whatever's happening in the world. And that's a shame. Like to lose the community around music is a shame. That's the true problem.
I don't know that it necessarily will go away, though, because I think that collaboration is always there, and that's always what draws people. And I think the real problem in all that is that we're all sitting there looking at our screens and less engagement, which you have to have engagement to create that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think, I was going to make a bigger point, but I lost it. So.
Yeah. Well, either way, we like Matthew McConaughey up here.
Yeah, like the moral of that story was drain lakes to preserve Matthew McConaughey. You know?
I think that brings up an interesting point, though. Like, if you can preserve your voice
Yeah.
So
through AI.
it wasn't that perspective, it was more like movies could use his voice in like other movies.
That's creepy.
So like he licenses his voice.
A disembodied Matthew McConaughey showing up
Yes.
in some other movie.
Yeah. So
That to me is crazy and arrogance. I walk around Hollywood Cemetery a lot. I think it's beautiful. It's great. It's a bunch of dead people using land for what? I don't know, for me to walk past. Yeah. I don't want to be buried. I don't want to take up that space. Don't waste a piece of hard drive on my voice. Like
Or the water.
this, right? This is our chance to live it. Like,
Yeah.
just live and be done.
Well, I think that's a thing. Like, people want immortality, right? Like, some people do.
Wrong.
I don't.
No, hell no.
Like, but some of these people who are you know, trying to gather trillions of dollars, and it seems like they can't get enough, and they want to cryo freeze themselves or whatever it is that is the technology of the day that's going to give them immortality. It's kind of just creepy, you know. It's kind of just like, hey, just
live.
just
You're
live
human.
and die,
You're an
and
animal.
like be part of that story, you know.
So I know we're coming up on time, but I want to sort of go down the human collaboration angle a bit because I do think that is sort of an underserved part of the conversation. And Tyler, you know, on Monday when we met, we did have a conversation about the moral sort of dimension of artificial intelligence in music. And when I look back on my life and my proximity to music, everything, all the sort of social values that I came to understand, my initial understanding of things like racism, sexism, homophobia, was all shaped and funneled through a prism of punk rock music and hardcore music. When we think about rock and roll, we think about jazz, we think about soul music, the way it evolved in the 60s and 70s, it was obviously a response to civil rights. It was a response to the Vietnam War. We think about NWA and Rage Against the Machine. You know, those bands were called into existence to confront the reality they were, you know, going to confront. So I think it's sort of an interesting thought exercise, you know, to wonder, can we, any of us, sort of live an ethical or moral life if we don't have the sort of artistic or musical or cultural values being uplifted by the people that are influencing us, you know, such as musicians, such as Matthew McConaughey.
You'll always have some influence.
Yeah, you know.
I think just music is just a great vehicle for it. And,
Right.
Especially like the punk rock stuff when you're forming as a kid and want to listen to shit that your parents don't want to listen to.
Right.
But I think that's, as you said, as a reaction to these things, I think AI, like, there'll still be human interaction pushing it, and what people are drawn to is what they're drawn to, whether it's timely or not. It's really, the human aspect cannot be taken out of it.
But do you not, I mean, but, okay, so like if we think about making sort of AI music to go on a platform, I mean, do we see somebody making socially conscious AI generated sort of?
If they want to, and if they do and people respond to it well,
Yeah.
great. But if they, I mean, they could make just hateful bullshit.
Because I think that's the other end of it.
But if people
right?
respond to it, I
Like,
mean, we're kind of disgusting as a human, we respond to some really terrible shit. And I'm not here to judge or to direct it because they don't give me that power of what should and shouldn't be done in those venues.
But you had some interesting insights when we first met,
I think based on what we've talked about tonight, I think that there's a the thing that worries me is that you're going to get music that is pushing a perspective of a certain, wealthy group of people or whatever. That could easily happen, right?
I mean, we already have that.
Well, welcome to times 100.
I mean, at a scale previously unheard of, though.
Yeah, right? I think you can like whoever has the most money has the.
It's going to create a
platform.
Bob Dylan or the opposite of a Bob Dylan.
The racist Bob Dylan.
The racist Bob Dylan.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, but
go
for
back
sure.
to acoustic from electric.
But that is clearly coming.
I mean,
what if humans respond to it? If there's a movement to it, other than, if it comes to a physical fist fight in the streets, what the fuck are you going to do about it?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same sort of process.
I'll fight in the streets.
No, I know.
I'll fight that Bob Dylan.
I would
fight evil AI Bob Dylan.
Evil AI
Bob Chillin.
The racist, the Bob not so chillin'.
Bob not so chillin'. But I think
there's also, though, I think right now, especially politics in art feels almost like you've used the capital up. It's almost like the cultural capital has been used up on so many causes that there's no room for it right now, and that's unfortunate because it's at a time when we truly need something to be said and things to be stood up for. But my main concern with AI is that it's really always been those with the most money get the platform, and so I think we might just, be in for a disinformation hell ride, really.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. And
I think that's probably going to happen.
And there are multiple angles to sort of radicalize young people, right?
Yeah.
Like whether or not it's TikTok, it used to be Facebook.
No,
when we were
have
coming
the Andrew
up,
Tate of music, right?
Music, right.
What would that even be?
I don't know, but I feel like
Racist
that's
Bob
coming.
Dylan, probably.
Racist Bob Dylan,
not Bob Chillin. Bob not
so
Chillin.
chillin',
All right, final question before we sort of go over to the room. You brought up the idea, racist Bob, not Bob Dylan, not Bob Chillin. You brought up the idea of counter-revolution earlier, right? There has to be a sort of counter-revolution to the AI revolution, specifically in music. Do you think this is just a bubble that's going to burst ultimately? I mean, we've had a very sort of in-depth conversation from multiple angles, but is the bubble for AI music ultimately going to burst? Is there going to be an inevitable backlash where this whole conversation essentially collapses in on itself?
I think it's going to have two lanes where you have commercial music that no one gives a shit if it's AI, because that's not really the audience. And I think it's going to be, you're going to have syncs for commercials and films and whatever. That's going to be AI. It's going to really ruin, small commercial music houses, which Richmond's really well known for. Tiny Lion, Overcoast, much love to them. Black Iris as well. But I think you know, you're going to then see people who are staunchly against that. And nothing's wrong with either way. Let's get that right. Unless you're like spreading disinformation, that's probably wrong. But you know, if you're using commercial music for like a capitalist, like we're lowering the overhead of the cost of making this music, and we're pumping out as much as we can. That's going to be the Billboard chart every week. People are going to stop caring about it. It's going to become background noise, and humans are going to be making art over here and doing their thing, and you're just going to have these two skyscrapers of art, really.
I feel like it's like that already, honestly.
It
I mean,
is.
it's just, you know, the insipid, this nonsense pop that Taylor Swift just put out another fucking record. I'm not downing what she's doing or anything. She's probably
This
working
is
with
the most dangerous thing.
Stop the live stream.
She's working with the top.
This is the most dangerous thing that's been said all night. Let's tread carefully.
She has a team of writers. She works with those people, so it makes sense that she could do that. But like, why do that? Like, there's enough out there. But people don't care. They want the content, and so I think whether it's pushed by a real person or AI in that sphere, that's what people want. They just want something easy to digest that just makes them feel good for a second.
And just tune out. Huh?
And I think that's why we need critics who are going to say, hey, this is, you know, this is important. Not necessarily good, but this is something you should listen to, if that makes sense.
So before we open it up to the room, we're here to answer the big question. Will music survive artificial intelligence?
Are we here to answer that?
We're here to answer that.
Yes,
so just,
it will.
Yes, it will.
Yes,
Music
it will.
has to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if music doesn't survive, we're not going to
Yeah,
survive.
and as long as there's humans, there will be music. If
Yeah.
it's just one dude whistling or tapping on somewhere, people harmonizing, or
If I rephrase that, will authentic music survive AI?
I think it's going to have a heyday.
It's coming up.
I think it's going to be bigger than ever. Real music is going to
because
maybe
people are going
thrive.
to want real.
People are going to go, I'm tired of hearing the same thing. Like, we all heard those songs, right? We all heard those songs.
They sounded familiar.
They sounded
Although we've
familiar.
never heard
They
them.
also sounded terrible. And so, like, let's get real. Like, people are going to make music. Humans are going to make music. This guy's going to make music. I'm going to make music. And I think it's going to actually be like that stuff over there, that drag, that's commercial. That's for commercials. That's serves a purpose.
Soulless.
It's soulless. It serves a purpose for background. If you want to dive into what humans are capable of emotionally, spiritually, musically, creatively, the language models are going to train off us.
Yeah, guys, that was a fantastic conversation.
You're a drummer?
Yeah, that was a hell of a way to sort of leave it, Tyler. I want to hear what you guys think. So, any questions for Tyler or John? Sophia, can you give a little?
We have a little hot mic. It doesn't need to be too close to your mouth.
Hi, so we talked a little bit about human collaboration. One aspect of that we didn't really touch on is the interpersonal connection between artists and their fans. I'm an independent local artist, so for me, and I'm sure for you all to some degree in your careers, especially at the beginning, that was a really important part of your growth and your art, and not only the art that you made, but like being able to succeed is being able to have interpersonal friendships and like connections with the people who listen to your music. Obviously with AI right now, that's not really a replicable thing. I was curious about your thoughts about how important that is, and how irreplaceable it is.
I was thinking about an angle that I didn't bring up in this, about like separating the art from the artist, and how that plays into this whole with like how the AI, is there really an artist there to begin with? And when I spit that out, I totally forgot the answer I was going to give you to that. The collaboration aspect of it. Shit, I don't have anything smart to say. I'm totally blank on responding to what you're going.
It's all good. I feel like, so your question was like the artist relationship with the fan?
Yeah, like
how important is that?
How important that is, and how like replaceable it could be by AI.
Replaceable? I can't imagine it being replaceable.
I think it really depends on the artist. Because like in my situation, when we started, we were a heavy metal band when like nobody wanted to listen to heavy metal, and like we were just having fun going into a practice space. Actually, it was across the street in one of the basements here, just playing like for the connection that we had together, and just it was fun as shit that we're all hitting the same notes at the same time and doing these different intricate things. I don't think that that's for just that experience, whether it leaves that room or stays there, the AI will never be able to do anything to touch that.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the fan point, I feel like we don't have conversations with our team about AI. We have conversations about our fans. We have conversations about like, how can we do something special for them and make them feel even more like, I guess honored or whatever it is. Like, I think that's where the industry is going, is really to, there's a lot of talk about like 1,000 or 100 super fans versus 1 million casual fans. And so it's like, that's what this whole thing is about right now, is really like creating that connection and that human connection. And I think it's so important. But without fans, we're still playing music, right? We're still here playing music. And I think that's the most important thing to remember, is that it is more about the collaboration with your brothers and sisters on stage and in the practice space and, doing that than necessarily anything else, I think.
Yeah, and then if anybody cares about it outside of that, is amazing.
Yeah.
So as an artist, that's...
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
I think somebody else had their hand
I
up.
just want to make a statement.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like AI has been kind of evolving in our life for a little too long. I mean, let's think about what elevator music and home plant music is. I mean, we can't. Is it really somebody that's actually playing that and recording that in a studio?
There was.
Yeah.
Right.
Now AI's doing it.
And doing it as a grind, too. Like, probably hating some of those songs.
I used to run the elevator.
Yeah,
exactly.
not anymore. Yeah. All right, cool. Does anybody have any more questions before we close out?
So we've talked a lot about how AI affects the music creation, but there's so many other aspects of the music industry that it affects. The big one that I think about is marketing and reaching people, because all of the advice that seems to be out there for like DIY artists these days is like, just spam everyone. Like, in every way that you can think of, just spam. And like, I feel like AI can just really make that happen even more, and that really just leads to people without a ton of resources getting buried.
I mean, I think it's happening now. I think AI just makes it even worse.
Yeah.
There's just a sea of bands out there, and just it would take 2 lifetimes to get through all the content. So I think it's already there. I think it's just going to get worse as AI piles on.
I think it's made marketing irrelevant. I think marketing's dead for music. I think the thing that you have to do is write a really great song now and connect it. And like, all the spamming in the world, all that's doing is just pissing people off. Like, hey, maybe if you have like a tour or something that you're putting up, you're obviously gonna like put a blast out, right? You're gonna put a press release out when you have a new album, but like, I feel like the conventional wisdom right now is so off. And then you look at somebody like Cameron Winter, Geese, they're putting out music, and it's very much like I heard about that record over the course of a year. That's what I wanted. That's how I want to discover music again. I don't want to have stuff shoved down my throat. I want to like discover something. And I think that, there are bands like Belle and Sebastian back in the day, or Woo Life back in like the early 2010s, like no interviews. It's just, here's our music and we're going to get it out there and we're going to figure out how it makes sense, because everything starts to feel like promotion, even the music that you write, when you start promoting too much. And I think like if you take a step back and like get out and start playing shows and like make the human connection, because like the spam happens online, right? You're not spamming people in person. You're not going up to them going, hey, here's my record, will you listen to it right now? Like that just doesn't happen. So like get offline, go meet people in person and start playing music at places again. I think if people did that, people would start discovering in a more healthy, natural way. And it wouldn't feel like music is just an end to make money. Because when you start promoting or marketing heavily, like what's the reason? You just want more people to listen to your music? Or are you trying to make like a connection with somebody, really? And I think that's the power of music. Maybe that sounds terrible, but that's where I feel lately.
Mildly cliche, but it's the truth.
The power, man. It's right there.
We're lucky enough to be on this end of it, too.
We are.
All right. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll keep the conversation going.
I'm in marketing, so I just have a counter.
Oh, here we yes.
I had one, but I didn't want to slow the conversation
Second
down.
dangerous thing.
Let's talk community lists.
Second most dangerous thing said tonight.
Industry, but interesting thing, so basically, we're already talking about AI and algorithms, so, okay, like, I do admit, hey, I have my records, I have my vinyl, but I do listen to Spotify, and the algorithms, okay, I like a select list of like heavy metal, old school stuff, but when they recommend an artist, it doesn't match what I even listen to or like, so those algorithms should be improved, and I think it could be more dynamic for a marketing aspect. And marketing is education, it's not.
I only
like the
mean
devil.
marketing is dead in the sense
Traditional marketing.
I think traditional marketing is dead in the sense of like music shouldn't feel like you're beating someone over the head with it. Like marketing could be going out and playing a show. That's great marketing. You're doing something in person, but it shouldn't feel like you're like creating reels because your life depends on it. You know?
John, Tyler, thank you for such a great conversation with you guys. Yeah. Thank you for everybody for attending the Salon again. And I would encourage everybody to adjourn to the bar for a drink, and we'll keep the conversation going there. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's awesome.
Good stuff, man.
Check out more from RVA Magazine at rvamag.com. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter and check us out on Instagram and Reddit. This is Landon Shroder for RVA Magazine. Talk soon.
Head silence outside.